Today we are going to be making some vegan peach cobbler. So come on, let's get started. After we gather all of our ingredients, the next thing we're going to do is drain our peaches. And since I am using home canned peaches, I'm going to save the liquid off these peaches and I'm going to use that to make some peach iced tea. I also wanted to mention that it's almost peach season, and while I'm trying to use up the peaches we canned last year, if you have fresh peaches to use, I would just blanch them, peel them, and take out the pits, and then start this recipe from there. I've stirred my peaches, sat them aside, my oven is preheating. Now I'm going to spray my dish with Pam. I'm going to transfer my peaches right into there so I don't make another dirty dish. To this, I am going to add a little bit of flour. This will just work as a thickening agent. Some lemon juice, some vanilla, and half a can of sweetened condensed coconut milk. We reserved the other half of this can and we will be using it later in the recipe. Stir this all around and try to mix it and get some of it on every peach. I like to turn my peaches down. I just like the way it looks better, personal preference. And I have made this very full of peaches because that's always the part I want the most. Alright, we are going to pop this in the oven and then get started on our top biscuit part. In my bowl here, I have flour. I am going to add some vegan butter to that, along with a little bit of soy milk and the rest of that sweetened and condensed coconut milk. Now we just want to incorporate all that together and kind of cut that butter into it. And you do want to use cold butter for this and kind of cut it in there. We are going to cut that cold butter into here because it will be coated by flour and then cause these biscuits to be a little bit flakier. That's why you're not going to want to use oil or melt your vegan butter before this. Alright, this is kind of a sticky loose dough, but we are just going to use these as drop biscuits on top. We still have a few minutes left on our peaches and we'll be back when they're ready. It's been 15 minutes, just enough to get this hot and bubbly, and now we are going to top it with our biscuits. And I like to try to not make my biscuits too thick on the top. I more want it to cover more area than be thick gobs of biscuits, for my personal preference. Slide that biscuit over a little bit. Still got some more to put on top. Gob right here. This is really a fairly quick recipe to throw together. It just takes a little while in the oven. Slide this guy over a little bit maybe, and one last biscuit right here. Now I'm gonna sprinkle it with cinnamon sugar. It just makes it look pretty in my opinion. Kind of finishes it off. And this is going back in the oven for another 30, possibly 40 minutes. We've just pulled the cobbler out of the oven. You can see it's nice and hot and bubbly. And to tell if it's done, much like bread, you want to tap on it. You're not going to be able to insert a toothpick and pull it out clean because we have this liquid. So that's how you're going to want to check it. You could maybe brown it a little bit more in the middle, but then I was afraid my edges were going to get too dark. Our peach cobbler is finished. Time for the best part, the taste test. We got a little bit of everything here. It is still pretty hot. Such great, satisfying comfort food. I think you'll really like the spin I put on this recipe with the sweetened condensed coconut milk. It gives a little richer and creamier flavor. Please give it a try and come back and see what we're cooking up next week.